Okay, let's get back in a time machine and let's go to 2021. The year's 2021 where there's a quarterback named Trey Lance coming out of school, and yours truly, the idiot that he is, decides to rank Trey Lance as the second overall player in that rookie draft. This is ahead of Justin Fields, Jamar Chase, Travis Etienne, Kyle Pitts, Najee Harris. I rank Trey Lance over all of those players. And I think that we have some explaining to do. I think that we need to go through and look at where Trey Lance currently sits, how we should be valuing him going forward, and ultimately, if we have any regrets. But before we get into anything, you better be dropping a like on this video. You better be subscribed to the channel. That way you can hear my next horrible Trey Lance call. And of course, if you want to check out my Dynasty rankings and see where Trey Lance is ranked today, or if you want to see where any of your favorite Dynasty creators have Trey Lance ranked, you can find that on flockfantasy.com. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get 30% off any subscription. And with promo code FLOCK, I personally will go through and make a podcast breaking down your Dynasty team with the Mother Flocker package. So make sure you are taking advantage of that. But let's go through and let's talk about Trey Lance, and let's talk about how I whiffed so hard on him before we get to his future outlook. Because going back to what we said with Dameon Pierce, if I'm not reevaluating my process and saying I got this wrong specifically, and this is how I'm going to do better going forward, then you shouldn't listen to me. If I can't look back on what we thought then and try to be objective about if we were right or wrong about individual aspects of this overall argument, I mean, what am I doing here? I'm just wasting my time. I'm wasting your time. So I want to outline my quarterback model and what I am looking for a college prospect going to the NFL and finding fantasy football success. And the first thing that I want to admit, and the first thing that I want to say is I cannot go through and tell you which collegiate quarterbacks will be massive hits or massive bust at the next level. And I will make the argument that no Dynasty creator can. I will make the argument nobody that's talking on ESPN can. I'll make the argument nobody you are listening to on YouTube can go through and tell you, okay, yeah, I watched the TV screen and Will Levis threw it this way, so he's going to be better than Anthony Rich. No, okay. In reality, there are so many different variables that go into quarterback play. It's easier to evaluate wide receiver. It's easier to evaluate running back. It is easier to evaluate tight end because we can take away different variables and try to compare these players one for one. But if we as outsiders here who aren't able to go through and look at these players at practice, that aren't able to sit down, talk to them, walk through film with them like NFL scouting departments are able to, like NFL general managers are able to, we are kind of fooling ourselves if we say that we can do a better job than NFL scouting departments at the quarterback position in particular, because it is so nuanced to try to remove quarterback performance in college from their offensive line, from their head coach, from their offensive coordinator, from their offensive scheme, from the wide receiver core that they had, from the running backs that they had, from the tight ends that they had, from the game scripts they were in based on their defenses. It is so difficult to try to remove all those variables and say this is exactly how these quarterbacks stack up. I am tired of seeing the Dynasty community go out there and scream, oh my gosh, the NFL has no idea what they are doing. I mean, Dwayne Haskins is way better than Daniel Jones. Oh my gosh, Josh Rosen's way better than Josh Allen. What are they thinking? Guys, they know a little bit more than we do because they have 10 times the amount of resources that we do at the quarterback position in particular. And we've seen Dynasty managers be wrong and wrong and wrong about it over the years. So if I'm looking at these collegiate quarterbacks, I am looking at NFL draft capital. This is going to be something that is so important, and wait till the end of the video with this. With NFL draft capital, it tells us what the NFL thinks of this prospect. And like we said, I think specifically at quarterback, their opinion is more valuable than ours. And also, does this player have job security? Are they actually going to be given a chance to succeed or fail? Or are they just going to ride the bench forever and possibly be cut? That is so important. 2, does this quarterback have rushing upside? Because if a quarterback is a hit at the NFL level and at the same time has rushing upside, he turns into Jalen Hurts. He turns into a true league-winning player. Whereas if he is kind of a hit, we don't really know just yet what he is, and he's Mac Jones, you can't start him in fantasy. It's not that important if he is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL or not. So rushing upside matters a ton for fantasy football purposes. And the situation they're stepping into is going to be that third big box. Are they going to be put in a position where they have no chance to succeed, where they have some of the worst wide receivers in the entire NFL around them? They have a bad coaching staff. They have a bad offensive line, and it's going to be so difficult for them to overcome all of that. Or are they going to be given Andy Reid as their head coach? And are they actually going to get a fair shot to go out there and turn into something special? So if we are looking at those three boxes and trying to get back into that time machine and evaluate Trey Lance, the prospect, draft capital, the man was selected at number 3 overall. The 49ers paid 3 first-round picks to go out there and get him. The 3 first-round picks ended up turning into Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb. It doesn't mean that Trey Lance is as good as all those players, but the investment that went into Trey Lance is massive, 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 massive. The draft capital is there. Rushing upside. The man had 1,100 rushing yards in a single season in college, where, remember, sacks are counted as negative rushing yards. The man had 14 rushing touchdowns in a single season in college. The man has all the rushing upside in the world. The man at the time of the NFL draft was going to a team that had Kyle Shanahan, a great offensive line, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. The best situation a top 3 NFL draft pick could ever find himself in. So if we go through those 3 main boxes where the team invests everything into him, he has all the rushing upside in the world to score fantasy football points, and he is put in a position to succeed with the best supporting cast you could ever ask for. Going back and looking at those boxes, unlike where I was looking back at our evaluation process of Dameon Pierce, and I was willing to admit, I got this one wrong. It's on me. I was too stubborn. I was stupid. I don't think that's the case here. In reality, if I were to go back in that time machine to 2021, and if I were to rank these players as prospects, of course, not what they did in the NFL, I would still stand by Trey Lance at number 2, only behind Trevor Lawrence in that draft class. Now, let's ignore what he was as a prospect, right? Let's go to present day, because I can't sit here and try to make an argument that Trey Lance has had a good first 2 years of his NFL career. He sits behind Jimmy Garoppolo all of year 1, and in year 2, I mean, the man gets injured and misses the season, his second week starting, whatever the hell you want to say. So we've seen nothing from Trey Lance. And right now we have reports saying that he is going to be in a QB competition for the San Francisco 49ers. And this is making a lot of people think, okay, well, maybe Trey Lance isn't really ever going to get a shot to start in the NFL. Maybe Trey Lance doesn't get to start for another team for an entire season. Maybe he's traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as used as a bridge quarterback for them to be able to bring someone in for the future. Where I honestly was a little worried about the same thing. I'm not going to lie to you. I was sitting here going, okay, well, yeah, what if Trey Lance gets traded? He only starts 1 season and then is a backup for the rest of his NFL career. How bad can this really be? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through and track every top 3 NFL draft pick at the quarterback position since the year 2000. We're going 2000 to 2020, a 20-year sample that we can look at. And I want to look at how many games did these players start in their NFL career. And just to go through this list briefly, you will notice there are a ton of busts. I mean, this list is littered with them because evaluating quarterbacks going from college to the NFL is one of the most difficult things you could ever do. And everybody's very bad at it. Even if NFL teams are better than us, they're still not great. Michael Vick, David Carr, Joey Harrington, Carson Palmer, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Alex Smith, Vince Young, Jamarcus Russell, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, Sam Bradford, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, Blake Bortles, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Trubisky, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow. We don't exactly know how many games those players have started, but anyway, what we wanted to do is we wanted to go through and track every single one of those players and how many games did they start in their NFL career. We can all say, yeah, there were massive busts on this list. You have Jameis, Trubisky, Blake Bortles, like very bad quarterbacks made this list. But how many of them started fewer than 50 games in their NFL career? 50. Jamarcus Russell and RG3. Jamarcus Russell, arguably the biggest sports bust of all time, started 25 games in his NFL career. RG3, a career that was derailed by injuries, started 42 games in his NFL career. Out of every quarterback that has been selected inside the top 3 picks of the NFL draft over the past 2 decades, you've had 2 guys start fewer than 50 games and 0 guys start fewer than 25. What does this tell me? It doesn't necessarily tell me that Trey Lance is destined to be Eli Manning, to be Matt Ryan, to have some phenomenal NFL career. No, that's not the case at all. I mean, I think that it's such a long shot for Trey Lance to ever turn into that 10-year starter at the NFL level. I mean, I would be a fool if we thought that was going to be the case at this point. But what I do think is, historically speaking, what is going to happen here with Trey Lance is he will be given multiple opportunities to either succeed or fail. Those opportunities haven't come yet. He started 4 total NFL games, one of which he left halfway through due to an injury. So I don't know how this entire story is going to play out for Trey Lance, but what I do know is the story is far from over. He is going to be starting multiple seasons for a NFL team going forward. And based on what we had back in college, where in a single season, he rushed for 1,100 rushing yards and he rushed for 14 rushing touchdowns. Even if he goes through multiple seasons failing as a real life NFL quarterback, maybe his team earns the number 1 pick overall in the NFL draft. I don't know who we're talking about there, but he can still be a great fantasy option during that time, even if, worst case scenario, he fails for multiple seasons, given that rushing upside that we are looking at. So in my mind, I'm buying low on Trey Lance. I'm taking the uncertainty. I'm going to be going through and looking to acquire on the cheap. If I'm heading over to flogfantasy.com real quick to pull up where I personally have Trey Lance ranked, I mean, of course, we have all your favorite dynasty analysts there, but I'm just going to be looking at my own rankings here so I can give you a decent understanding of how high, how low I am on Trey Lance in comparison to the market. I currently have Trey Lance ranked at 43. I have him as a 4th round startup pick. I have him directly behind TJ Hawkinson, Will Levis, Daniel Jones, Tua Tagovailoa. I have him ranked directly ahead of guys like Josh Jacobs, Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce, Christian Watson, Najee Harris. If I could go through and flip Christian Watson for Trey Lance in a 12-team Superflex league, that's something that I'm doing today because I do think this is a quarterback that will be starting multiple seasons of his NFL career going forward, and he will be scoring rushing points as he does so. But that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out this video. I know we're going down with the sinking ship, but this is a sinking ship that I'm having a hard time letting go of. But again, thank you for everything. I really hope you have a great day. Really hope that we get to see you with the video tomorrow. And of course, if you ever want to get access to our Dynasty rankings, if you want to get access to all my premium content and all the premium content of your favorite creators, that is on flogfantasy.com with promo code FLOG for that 2-day free trial, 30% off any subscription, and a podcast breaking down your Dynasty team. But thank you again, and I really appreciate you.